gentlemen, and welcome to the Dubai Duty Free Tennis Championships. Please welcome from Kazakhstan, Elena Rybakina. And please welcome from the United States of America, the newly crowned Australian Open champion and 5th seed here in Dubai, Sofia Kenin. Well, hello and welcome to the first match of the evening session on day 2 of the Dubai Duty Free Championships. And it is also a first tour level match for the new Australian Open champion, Sofia Kenin. And this one really should be a popcorn encounter between two young guns, as the American will take on one of the most informed players of 2020, Elena Rybakina. My name is Pete Hodges and I've been joined by Annabelle Croft once again. So what are you expecting from the newest of Grand Slam champions?
Well, that's a very good question, Pete, because, you know, her life has changed dramatically overnight, and I think it's going to be really fascinating to see. As you mentioned, her first tour-level match, of course, she played in the Fed Cup since then, won one match, lost another. Lost to Ostapenko, beat Sevastova. So, you know, this is huge pressure, different territory for her, isn't it? And she's up against someone who's got more match wins on the tour than anyone else, who's had an incredibly consistent season, who's doing so well. She's up at 19 in the world. This time last year was 192 in the world. So this might not be such an easy match for her tonight.
Yeah, it has been a meteoric rise, and she's got a big game, Rybakina.
Anthony with us for coin toss. Ladies, before we start, please stay with Anthony here for a photo after coin toss, facing that way, all right? Usual conditions, like every match on the tour. Serve clock is on a Dubai duty-free blackboard, all right? Electronic line calling, just make requests for challenge in timely manner verbally. And TV changeovers, that's about it. If you need anything, something's wrong, let me know. Any question, girls? No? Elena, heads, tails? Heads is WTA. Anthony. Serve? Yep. And photo that way, please. Yeah, thank you.
So I think that was Kenin winning the toss and electing to serve first. We will soon find out. Yeah, it's been a big rise for both players, hasn't it? You mentioned that what Rybakina has done, but also pretty special what Kenin has done in 12 months.
Well, just extraordinary, isn't it? I mean, she sort of burst onto the scene. Obviously, very determined player, very strong mentally, great ball striker, but really backs herself and really did always believe that she was going to be a top player, I think.
So this is another round one encounter at the Dubai Duty Free Tennis Stadium. The newly crowned Australian Open champion, Sofia Kenin, up against Elena Rybakina. And this is where they are in the draws. You can see right at the very bottom in terms of the quarter. And the winner of this match will play Siniakova, who had a superb win earlier on over fellow country person Mukova. 6-love in the third. So the qualifier making it through. It's been a good couple of days for the qualifiers.
matches in qualifying.
So first WTA Tour
Elena,
match since winning the Australian Open for Sofia Kenin, otherwise known as Sonia incidentally, so we will go with that for today. Taking on the player who's won more matches on the WTA circuit than anyone else, Elena Rybakina. And it will be the Kazakh to get this first round encounter underway.
Lovely.
As much as Rybakina's won a lot of matches this year, hasn't won any this year against a top 10 opponent.
Love.
Ash Barty at the Australian Open did Rybakina. To say, did show some nerves in that match. Started very well. It was an exceptional performance from the Australian. Just a few nerves here, you feel, as well.
Oh, I think she's caught the back line with that. She's definitely going to march to the change of ends.
Well, Rybakina didn't quite know where to look or turn to. She was kind of wanting help. She'd left it thinking it was going long. But was it a big mistake from the Kazakh? Yes, it was, because it's plumb on the line. And how about that for a start from Sonia Kenin? Breaks in the first game for a 1-love lead.
Miss Rybakina has 2 challenges remaining.
Well, it doesn't get closer to the corner junction than that, does it? And I was listening to Alicia Molik, the former tour player from Australia, during the Australian Open, and she said that, you know, she was staying in the same hotel as Kenin and watched her going up to
Sofia,
the breakfast
Kenin,
buffet, and she said she marches to the breakfast buffet in exactly the same way she does around the court. That's just how she walks.
Well, you mentioned seeing that video footage of her as a very young person, and even there, how she was talking about she was going to become a Grand Slam champion. She oozed confidence.
Yeah, she did. I think she just loves the sport. You can see there's a lot of joy that she brings onto the court. Brings great energy, sort of like real bounce in her movement.
I don't know about for you, but for me, that Australian Open win for me was just an indication to all players and all people just how far belief in your own ability and game can carry you. I also think she was spurred on by all the spotlight being on the likes of Coco Gauff.
Wow, this is quite a start, isn't it? Quite an intimidating start, to be honest. And Rybakina's body language in comparison looks as if she's kind of in her shell at the moment.
Well, the information that we've had so far this week, Annabelle, of course, we had a big win, as you mentioned earlier, for Jennifer Brady from qualifying. Siniakova, another qualifier, winning today. This is Rybakina's debut here. Won't have had much practice either. So it's going to be very tough early on.
I think also at night, we talked about that with Muguruza, didn't we, with Kleisters as well, just having to make that adjustment, playing a night feature match as well. Another thing to contend with. Takes a little bit of time for your eyes to adjust to that. Ooh, a couple of double faults back to back. This very unusual style, hasn't she, Kenin, of, I don't know any other player who does it, who just keeps her head down as that ball is being tossed up, and she never sort of looks out at where she's serving to or the opponent. Eyes are kept very much down. Quite sure how she knows where she's serving it. It's unusual, isn't it? Must have a visualization technique of where that court is.
Let's second serve.
Up 40 love. A couple of double faults and an unforced error, and Rybakina back in the game. But yeah, I'm with you. Very unique, isn't it, that serve? Can't argue with it when you're a Grand Slam champion.
Advantage, Kenin.
There's a kind of pause, isn't there?
Game, Kenin.
He's able to wriggle through the game, and I'm afraid it's been a bit of a slow start from Rybakina. As I say, maybe nerves, maybe a little bit under-prepped, having arrived here from St. Petersburg with not a lot of time. But Kenin backs up the break for a 2-love lead.
Yeah, and looks a little bit intimidated as well, doesn't she? I think she feels as if she's playing the reputation of her opponent already, who's got quite an aura.
That's beautifully done. I saw the slices from Kenin, and that was what Barty did to great effect against Rybakina. But you would imagine the Kazakh has been working on that, and maybe this is the answer to it.
Well, it was nicely disguised as well, wasn't it? She set up as if she was going to hit a backhand, and then at the last minute just comes underneath the ball. Really nice feel with the racket head.
15. Miss Rybakina showing the call on the left baseline. The ball's called in.
I love the racket paintwork. Looks like the American flag, doesn't it?
$30-15. Miss Rybakina has one challenge remaining. 40-30. Game, Rybakina.
Well, she does lead the ace count on the tour. And there is another one to add to the tally.
2 games, 2.
Gets herself on the scoreboard, the Kazakh, albeit 2-1 down.
When people around the world connect.
Well, it just shows what a good serve can do now. She's having a little bit of a eye contact chat with her team down the other end. And of course, that's the new rule, isn't it, Pete? That they're allowed to sort of chat to each other. They can actually get them on court as well at the change of ends, but I don't know what I make of it all, really. It's such a bone of contention between so many people, isn't it? It's got so many different opinions out there to do with, and I'm a bit torn on it, actually.
Well, I mean, for me, I've always liked the on-court sit-down in terms of from an entertainment point of view. You
I like
learn a little bit more about the relationships and the personalities, and I think that's always a bonus. You also learn about the tactics and things like that. I understand as well it being brought in with information from the side, because there's been such a discrepancy of many of the players saying, well, a lot of the coaches do it, and yet it's just who gets away with it. So it's a fairer way to perhaps say, OK, you are allowed to get away with it now. But the difficulty is where it's different in the slams, and that's where I know some people talk about, well, if you want to be a slam champion, is that the best way to go?
Yeah, and I think also in terms of you know, developing juniors, watching them always constantly turning to the coaches while they're playing junior matches. I'm not sure how much that helps them as juniors, but I'm with you on the entertainment side, that's for sure. Wow, that is a terrific return of serve, isn't it? A lot of arm motion there, not much leg and body work going behind that ball, but my goodness, anything that hits these back lines just shoots through.
Smart from Kenin. She's going to have to think her way through.
Oh, that was Alexander Kenin. Sofia's dad done such an amazing job with her, hasn't he?
That's the perhaps underrated ability of Kenin, isn't it? Her core strength to deal with pace and power. Wasn't pushed off the baseline there at all, despite the big ball strike from the Kazakh. Challenge here from the American. She's very confident. Has gone straight to the deuce court side. And she knows when a ball is in. Knows everything right now, Annabelle.
Well, she's just very confident, very self-assured, isn't she? There doesn't seem to be any self-doubt on this court at the moment, if ever, I don't think. She brings a real aura onto a tennis court.
Do you think she was spurred on as well by the fact that the amount of attention that the other younger players, Anna Samova and Goff, were perhaps getting, and no one was really talking about her because she still had an exceptional year last year as a 20-year-old?
Yeah, perhaps. I'm sure, you know, they've all grown up with each other, haven't they, in juniors and early part of their careers on the tour. And yeah, I'm sure there's a huge competitive element to all of that. But then for some of them, maybe it helps them a little bit if they have less attention. She's one of the names that perhaps you wouldn't have picked to go on and win her first slam before everybody else. But you know, here she is, she's done it.
3 games to 1.
And I guess it's going to be how she deals with everything. Everyone's going to want a piece of her, the time that she's going to have to spend on more media activities since then. But I think, I don't know, something tells me she's going to handle it okay.
Finished out last year, Kenin ranked 14th in the world as a 20-year-old, and you know, I think she did feel a little bit under talked about for such an achievement, as we see Stefano Vukov, the coach of Rybakina.
Well, she had both feet off the ground when she played that. Really keen to try and take that ball up high early as she could. It was a well-struck ball, wasn't it? But just a little bit long. And she's so quick to put errors like that behind her, marches on to the next point.
Let's 30.
What a service delivery that was. 177 kilometres an hour, that last one. Almost pronated the wrist on that, didn't she? She turned it the other way. Effective, though. Normally you're sort of extending the racket head from left to right. She actually did it the other way with the wrist.
This is where it's going to be tough for her today, because Kenin is an excellent returner. Just making her opponent play a few extra balls here.
Very glossy red racket, isn't it? American flag colours down the other end for Kenin. Control that one.
She's hung with her, hasn't she? In these opening exchanges, Rybakina. Kenin, though, still leading. 3-2.
3 games to 2.
You can follow their style.
Bravo, Lenka. It's okay, you're starting to find the rhythm. Takes some time, normal. We were indoor for some weeks. Yeah, so of course. No. I don't want you to slap the balls. I want you to put pressure on the forehand side, to be ready. When the balls are a little bit short, approach them. You understand? Don't hit them, like wait and then pump, stay in the same spot. It's yeah, but remember, the slower the hand, the worse the idea. You understand what I mean? Yeah. A little bit wider with the legs, a little bit down. Extend the hand more forward, because when you try to do a little bit more spin, your follow-through is becoming a little bit too short. So okay, extend into the shots, but on the returns, she's not serving really well. You understand? Be aggressive on the returns. Try to take, remember what we worked on? Don't really wait for the serve to come to you, trying to predict it a bit, okay? But take them like if you're taking them off the rise. You understand? Like, if it's bouncing off the rise, go and take these returns, okay? She can miss from the backhand, okay, understand. But in crucial points, better go on the forehand side, yeah, and be ready for what's to come. But come on, let's go, relax. You can take this set. I'm telling you, if you play 5% better, I'm not even asking you more than this. 5% more attention. You got this. Let's go. Come on.
5.
That's beautifully done from Kenin.
Such an unusual shot, that, isn't it? Because she sort of takes the left hand off at the end of the swing, but she really does kind of shovel it. But it's done it so many times. She did it quite a few times at the Australian as well. And it's very difficult to read that ball. It's got good feel on it and comes inside it.
15.
Sit down. Of course, it was Rybakina who was calling a coach onto the court, Stefano Vukov. Was looking a little negative, wasn't she, Rybakina? But he seemed to do a good job in terms of trying to get her going.
Yeah, he was very positive, and he was saying, look, she's not serving that well. You need to be more aggressive on those returns of serve and really look to move forward on the ball. Don't wait for it to come to you. And he was saying, you know, because the ball's flying, he said you're getting a little bit tentative on that follow through. You're getting a bit short on it, so extend the arm. Well, there's an example.
13.
There's something we've been saying all week already with regards to players missing. It's such an unusual sport, isn't it? You've got to swing through faster to get more control.
Yes, and the more hesitant you become, the more inhibited you are on the swing, and then of course it's going to fly even more. I guess that's the other factor that we don't always take into account, the fact that these players are coming from different tournaments, sometimes different balls, different air quality, different sort of pace of court, everything to factor in. As you've pointed out, Rybakina did so well in St. Petersburg, hasn't had that much time to practice here and adjust, so that makes a huge difference.
That's brilliantly done once again from Kenin, but just feel Rybakina missed an opportunity there. Our coach talked about getting into the net and approaching, backed away, and Kenin made her pay.
Yeah, take another look at this point here. You can see unusual approach shot that. You don't often see the forehand slice approach. A nice finish with the smash.
That's enough.
That's just quality. I mean, when you analyse Kenin's game, there are so few holes in it, and that's why she was able to do what she did in Melbourne.
Well, clearly keen to improve on every aspect as well, because coming forward, looking for the volley, looking to improve every aspect of her game. And also you feel she has a game that will adapt to all surfaces. You can imagine her doing well on the clay. Obviously we saw her beating Serena there at the French Open last year, but I could imagine on the grass, because she moves so well, she's very compact, the technique is so good.
Also the on-court intelligence in terms of knowing what shot to play where is very, very good. Well, it's tough to know what shot to play where when you've got the Rybakina serve powering down. Not been a good day for the seeds so far today. Kenin looking to correct that here on centre court. Made a good start with that shiny racket that Rybakina has. We're having a little look at that. You a fan of the shiny racket, Annabelle?
It doesn't look like it's been chucked around too much, does it? Well, these are some nice slow-mos of her, and you can really get a good take on that great technique that she has. And so much of what she brings to the court is the energy with the footwork and the legs and just kind of the whole joy that she brings onto the court. I mean, I know it's early in the season and towards the back end of the tour, around about sort of October, November time, people look tired and a bit kind of exhausted from it all. But, you know, Kenin, you can imagine whatever day it is, however tired she is, she's going to be out there, you know, really upbeat and marching around a tennis court.
Time.
Again, taking the ball so early, taking the time away from Rybakina.
Well, I think this is one of the things that Muguruza said she did so exceptionally well to win the Australian Open and obviously beat her in the final. She just said she played so incredibly well at the key moments. You know, yes, she's aggressive. She looks to sort of move that ball around the court. She really does move opponents around, doesn't she? Goes back behind them, uses the full court, but does back herself when the scoreline gets tight.
It was the same in the semi-finals, wasn't it, against Dash Barty in the Australian Open. It was a scrappy encounter, but was able to play the better tennis, particularly in that first set, in those big moments. It takes you a long, long way, doesn't it? Belief, confidence, ability to know where to put the ball.
40-11.
Hear the sound, can't you, of the strike from Rybakina.
He's not falling asleep, is he?
He has seen a lot of tennis this year and a lot of excitement, so.
Had a bit of the old touch of the old head noddies there.
That's a good point from Rybakina, but I'm sure he just backs his daughter. He's that confident that she's going to get the job done here.
Well, I don't know. We might have to give him a hard time about that a little bit later. Well, this is a good point from Rybakina, trying desperately to take charge of some of the baseline rallies.
Second time now that Kenin's been up 40-11 and been pegged back to deuce. Got out of danger last time. First sign of negative body language.
Oh, what an opportunity that was. Second serve. You can see that's a reaction across at her coaching corner. She'll be disappointed missing that one.
Yes.
Just looks a little bit tight in this game.
Yeah, the scoreline is just getting more and more pressured, isn't it? Oh, we've had a text from former tour player Sophie Amiak, who's
a
informed us
WTA
that-
commentator as well, of course.
Yes, absolutely. Who said that the only other player that she was aware of that did this with the head was Garcia. Although she's changed her technique a little bit, Sophie says. So thank you for that, Sophie.
Advantage, Kenin.
Eight winners to 4, double the amount already. Oh, my
well,
goodness,
Cicak
Maria.
She's alert. Cicak survives, as does Kenin in the game once again.
That was close. She did a good job ducking there.
Holds, though, for a 5-3 lead. So a game away from taking the first set. Oh, wow. On the run. A bit dangerous in any area of the court, Rybakina.
Oh, we'll have a look at this replay from that last return of serve at the end of that game. There's Maria Cicak. Oh, just skimmed over the top of her chair. Had to be alert.
It's not going to help her get back in the match, is it, trying to attack the umpire like that? Oh, and again, that's quality from Kenin. And, well, we saw the winner count a little earlier on, and it just shows you how well Kenin is playing. Out hitting in terms of winners, Rybakina right now. Rybakina actually having more success with the second serve percentage right now. On 7 of 10 points. She's an aggressive second serve, and you just wonder whether Kenin will adjust that return position for that second serve if it continues like that. Give herself a little bit more space and time.
Well, beaten by the pace there, 180 kilometres an hour coming down at her, and didn't have too much time to react to it. Kenin just looking around and looked a bit exasperated at her dad after that.
And a quick service hold for Rybakina, and she'll be hoping. She's got a little bit of momentum towards the back end of this set. Needs to find a break in the next game, though, to still stay in it.
Yeah, not too many long rallies in this set. I mean, it's quite a pacey set of tennis, considering 9 games already played, 31 minutes on the clock. But I guess, you know, some of those big serves from Rybakina, which have ramped up as the set has unfolded. And so not too many long, drawn-out rallies. It's quite sort of short, sharp tennis, isn't it?
And, do you think, with regards to Kenin, of course, after winning the Australian Open, usually players take quite a bit of a break, but she chose to play Fed Cup. Do you think that was a smart decision in terms of just to get herself back on the wheel, so to speak?
Probably. And also, am I right in thinking that to turn out for Fed Cup it helps with the Olympics, or is that last year?
I think it does, yeah. It depends how many she's played, to be honest.
Yeah. But also I think, you know, she probably made a commitment to that, so it was a case of, right, well, I've made that commitment to that Fed Cup, so I'm not going to, you know, just bunk on that just because I've come out and won a first Grand Slam. So business as usual, get on with it and keep on working to improve. And there is something different about Fed Cup and representing your country. It's a whole different feeling altogether. And Billie Jean King was talking about that at the Fed Cup draw in Budapest last week. She was saying what a wonderful thing it is just to represent your country. It's so much fun. It really develops you as a person, as a player. You know, different pressures that you have to cope with. So great to see her playing in it, to be honest.
The lights are on. Wonderful surroundings here in Dubai. Kenin entertaining the crowds this evening. She'll be hoping to close out this first set here, serving for it at 5-4.
Love 15. Love 13.
Oh, a bit of pressure here then for Kenin. She's missed that one as well. She's got a little defensive here, Kenin, and perhaps showing some signs of nerves.
Yeah, she was going up the middle of the court there, wasn't she? Choosing to try and keep control of the ball, then went for the corners and missed. Massive turnaround here. Well, I thought that might have been wide. I don't know what you thought. No challenge from Rybakina.
Yeah, I thought it was good, but I wouldn't have been surprised on such a big point. Break point, of course. Probably worth the challenge, wasn't it, from Rybakina? Very good second serve, though, nevertheless, from Kenin. Still got 2 break points, though, to try and save here. It's a more positive point again from the American. Little look of relief that the miss hit did drop long. What she has done well is just stayed nice and tight to the baseline throughout this match, and to say, natural thing to do when you're a little nervous. So many players tend to just back away a little and can't give that space to Rybakina. But she's missed that one as well. A bit of a scruffy game from Kenin. And you have to say, probably on the balance of play, it had been coming. As Rybakina breaks back in the nick of time to make it 5-all.
Well, I was admiring the return of serve, which was struck with such authority into that forehand corner, got the ball where she wanted it. Must have just taken her eye off it. Well, she seems to have got a little bit clouded in her head, doesn't she? Things are sort of spinning away from her quite quickly out here. Needs to suddenly stop the rot if she can. Oh, it's going to be hard if her opponent's serving aces like that. Well, that's got some big cheers from the crowd out here.
It's ace number 107 for the year. And we're only in mid-February.
Well, she's taking huge swings at these returns of serve, isn't she? She's trying to pick a side as to which way Rybakina is going to serve, and then really going after that ball. Paid off that time. Gets her on the back foot. Nice drive volley.
Closes out the game with a second ace of the game. And for the first time in this match and this opening set, Elena Rybakina is in front, 6-5.
Давай, они будут тебе говорить, что ты сделал неправильно, ты делаешь это каждый раз, часто очень. Значит, давай теперь посмотрим, что мы можем сделать. Значит, у тебя 3 игры подряд, ты каждый раз потом 40-30, ты 2 очка выигрываешь и проигрываешь по личному очку. Начинаешь с 0-40, 3 игры ты начала. Значит, это окей. Сейчас ты в каком положении? У нас you on serve. Нервничать нечего, у тебя игра была, ты ее не взяла. Значит, теперь что сделать нужно? Подавать, твоя подача, правильно? Аккуратно, 2 ногами, носочки оттянуты, перед собой. Хороший пронейшн, мув. Не делай ошибки, когда это на легкие мячи, когда ты каждый раз reset your feet. Ты начинаешь на прямых ногах, бьешь мяч, ты нервничаешь, я понимаю. Нервничать не надо, you on serve. Я вижу, что нервничаешь. Не надо, спокойно. You on serve. Когда ты играешь, когда ты двигаешь мяч нормально, она ничего сделать не может. Хорошо? Ты как, помнишь, куда? Правильно? Под лево открывай, под право, не заставляй ее двигаться туда. Не включай сюда. Change down the line. Ты должна дать ему хороший, ты знаешь что, траекторию. Не просто так, прямой. Может быть, немножко будет более patience, раскидывай ее. Хорошо? Все, спокойно. Давай.
Well, lots of words from her father for Kenin. I'm afraid we weren't able to understand any of them, but serving to stay in the set here, 5-6. Anna, but what do you think he might have said to Sonia?
I wish I spoke Russian. I'm afraid don't understand Russian, but I would imagine he was saying trying to get back on track with the sort of tennis that she brought out onto the court, which she's so good at redirecting the ball, getting her opponent on the move and trying to get good first serves in as she did there. But I would say movement is one of the weaker sides of Rybakina, but it's pretty difficult when your opponent's serving such a high level. Taking care of business down her service ends. Well, that was a much more extended rally because it's felt like a little while since she won one of the longer drawn-out rallies. Rybakina was getting on top in some of those, and as you'd said, she was sort of bringing her margins in. She was allowing Rybakina to kind of get involved in more of these points.
Forty, 30.
Again, the first serve helping Kenin out. That's a gutsy hold. Under pressure there at 30 all. Ensures that this opening set will be settled on the tiebreak.
Yeah, it was an interesting moment, that 30-all point, wasn't it? And once again, Rybakina just not getting that ball back into play on the return of serve, which again, she'll be very bitterly disappointed with herself. That's just let her down a tiny bit, hasn't it, in this opening set? It's some key moments. There's no question that the serve has definitely ramped up as it's unfolded.
2-0.
We keep talking about people we have in the commentary box at the WTA. Olga Savchuk, who's of course coach now of Karolina Pliskova. Thank you very much for your message, because she has translated what Alexander said to Sonia a few moments ago. Talked about her not being nervous and starting the games too late from love 40. Talked about just thinking about what she can do, not what's gone before in terms of the nervousness, staying in the present. Oh, well, did everything right but the final ball.
2-1. Kenin.
Well, that is infuriating, isn't it? No wonder she's annoyed with herself. She missed a couple of balls where she set the point up so beautifully. Still quite far back for that drive volley. I mean, not easy. You can see that ball dipping and dropping. Didn't quite get the timing right.
Let's pass. 2-all.
Well, that's outstanding, that serve.
That's a fine pass. Again under pressure. Kenin comes up with the goods in a big point
Kenin.
once again.
Perhaps guilty of a little bit short on that approach shot. Gave a little bit of extra time for Kenin to make that pass.
4-2. Kenin.
And how many matches at the Australian Open did she win like this in terms of those tight sets? She was able to come through. That's the two that spring to mind are against Ash Barty, but she had a couple of tight ones against Zhang Shui as well in round 3.
She is in a hurry, isn't she? No time wasting with Kenin on the court. 16 seconds left on the clock still.
5-2. Kenin.
Well, as you can see, we just thought Kenin had dropped back a little bit, and that is the case. The last 4 games, 24% compared to 12%. That's a big drop off, and so that's possible to do with the ball striking from Rybakina, but also a bit of tightness, wanting a bit more time on the ball. It's what so many players do when they are nervous. That's what her dad was referencing.
6-2. Kenin.
Four set points. Oh, what a return.
Kenin.
And the set finishes
Seven games
on a
to
high
6.
for Sonia Kenin. There was a little wobble towards the end of it, but gets over the line in 47 minutes, winning the tiebreak.
Well, she certainly finished that first set tiebreak with a flourish, didn't she? And having just dropped her level just a tiny bit, allowed Rybakina back into the match. And I have to say, I mean, she was serving an exceptionally high level, wasn't she, Rybakina? So making things very tough for Kenin, but she rose to the challenge and found another gear herself. So let's just take a look back at the highlights of that first set then.
A lot of highlights in that opening set.
Game for set.
That was the return that got the job done for
7
Kenin.
games to 6.
Of course, so many daughters do have fantastic relationships with fathers, and well, again, those words of wisdom from a father clearly made the difference for Kenin. So can Rybakina react here?
Time. Second set.
So serving to start the second set, Rybakina. Would you believe it? Both players are the wrong side.
Second set. Kenin 2-7.
I mean, sometimes you see that happen with one player, not perhaps focused or concentrating. But that is a real rarity, that they both walk to the wrong side. Chichak spotting it. And it won't be Rybakina to get us underway. It will actually be Sonia Kenin.
Correction was good. First set. Lights. First set. Miss Rybakina is on the call on the right baseline. The ball is called in.
Colin McLaughlin, Executive Vice Chairman and CEO, Dubai Duty Free.
Yep, next to his very glamorous wife, Breeder.
15. Please.
Incidentally, the little bit of music you might be able to hear in the background, it's the player party tonight.
2 challenges remain.
So just hope these two players are nice and focused on the tennis and not thinking about wanting to be at the party.
I'm sure they'll be there after this match is finished.
Oh, super return from Rybakina. Such a clean, crisp ball striker, the Kazakh.
And you can see the split step as she moves inside that baseline to take that one.
Am I right in thinking you can hold a falcon at the player party, Anna? But I've not been. I presume you have been.
I have over the years. I've had camel rides and sort of henna tattoos and, yeah, holding a falcon, dancing.
So I expect to see you with some henna tattoos tomorrow.
Okay.
Game Kenin.
As Kenin closes out the game, we talk about how important the first game of sets are. And again, you've got to just say that was quality from the 21-year-old. No fuss. Secures the second game.
First game, second set.
First game, I should say, of the second set.
Well, let's take a look at the stats of that first set then. 47 minutes to get through it. 4 aces from Rybakina, the 1 from Sofia Kenin. But look at that. First serve points won 100%, 97% on Rybakina. I'm trying to work that one out, whether that's points won or...
I'm afraid. I think it's another, perhaps, error.
Lovely. Fifteen, 13.
As you can see, the difference there, it's quite even, really, isn't it? Under 5 or over 9. The mid rallies generally going Kenin's way. We haven't seen too many shots, though, or rallies over 9. Oh, well, that's the rally of the match so far, and a superb way to finish for Kenin.
That was outstanding movement, wasn't it? Really hanging in that rally, using her legs so well. She's just so light on her feet, absorbing the power. And what accuracy that one was into that corner.
2 break points for the American.
13, 14.
Serving her way out of trouble, Rybakina.
Yes.
Well, she has that ability just to walk up to the line. She's got a very sort of languid style, hasn't she? Just even in terms of her demeanour as well as the way that she plays her tennis. But look how effortless those kind of points are for her if she gets that first serve into play, getting the short reply.
Advantage, Rybakina. Game, Rybakina.
And again, finding another big first serve to help her out. And that's a big hold for Rybakina. Momentum firmly with Kenin, and you so often see, of course, after a player wins a tight first set, can be a momentum shift to start the second, but digging in there, the Kazakh.
Correction was good. 30.
Correction from the chair. Rybakina accepting of the correction. Call was late, so. Oh, just couldn't reach to make it. Rybakina did so well there to make it tough for the American.
Well, you can sense that her technique on the volleys just needs a little bit of cleaning up, doesn't it? Because it's good to see her constantly trying to come forward, but I think she plays with a little bit of a forehand grip on that volley, and that makes it that just tiny bit more difficult to control the racket face. Wozniacki always, her volleys were a little bit sort of forehand grip-like, weren't they? And sometimes can't really get that kind of knife through the court with that grip.
Just pushed it long, but again, I like the tactic from Rybakina. Said earlier on in the match against Ash Barty at the Australian Open, we saw lots of slices from Barty, and it worked really well against Rybakina. But once again here, no panic from the Kazakh.
Well, also with the grip that Kenin has there, she couldn't control that racket face once she got up to that drop shot, because she got there no problem. No one likes being drawn forward short in the court like that for those drop shots. Very, very tricky. Oh, is that in?
I think she's just missed it.
Rybakina showing a call on the right hand side line and was called out.
Just how important could this be? I mean, just saved a couple of break points in the previous game, Rybakina. She's found the line here. It's the world number 19 who has the break, but she has just missed it.
Oh.
Yes, Miss Rybakina has one challenge remaining.
Oh, yes, did well there. That ball right down the centre of the court. Did well to get her feet and her body out of the way. Really good sort of depth on that shot. Another break point.
Yes.
Held her time on this forehand, didn't she? Waited to just see that little shift to the other direction for Rybakina. Went into the forehand. Oh, that's an excellent serve.
Third ace for the world number 7.
Always plays like she's in a real hurry, doesn't she?
She's missed that one again. I think it's almost landed in almost an identical spot to the last backhand cross-court return. Kenin again looks pretty certain.
Yeah, and Rybakina looked across at her support camp, and they're shaking their heads as if, why are you challenging this? Because that's not what we were telling you to do, and now it's a wasted challenge. And that's probably exactly why.
Yeah, she's blown 2 in the game as well there, Rybakina. That could be costly when push comes to shove later on in this set.
New balls, please.
Well, quite an interesting moment that. So they were a little bit frustrated, the support camp of Rybakina, and in the white cap there, he was sort of indicating with his fingers to his head, like, think out there, what are you doing? He's getting quite animated in the box. He's quite wound up. Not getting the message through.
Well, I also think he'll be getting a little frustrated because, I mean, she's got herself into such a good position to win this match. There's been opportunities for the 20-year-old.
Looks like he's actually indicating for her to come down there and have a quick chat. Because actually she's allowed to, isn't she? If she gets close to him, if he can say a few things.
Yeah, it doesn't, as long as it doesn't affect the play.
Come on.
Oh. Ah, now the chair umpire's like saying no.
Yes.
That's interesting. Not quite sure what that's about.
Oh, wow. From the open stance position, what a clean strike.
Well, also, I haven't seen Kenin use that tactic very often, where she's literally striking that return and coming forward. Real attack tactic, but left the corner wide open there.
She hasn't come forward too often. It is an area of Rybakina's game that I'm sure her coaching team will be looking to try and improve, because with the big ball striking that she's got the ability to get forward. That was an uncomfortable looking volley. She's got the ability, hasn't she, just to almost hit winners from anywhere.
Well, that was kind of nonchalant, wasn't it? But what a strike. All arm, like a lasso finish on it. Look at that, right up over her head, and still an outright winner.
Game Rybakina.
Quick fire hold for Rybakina. A couple of tight games.
Games.
And it's 2-2 second set. Generally done a good job. We were talking about how she would perhaps struggle with the lack of prep in terms of getting used to the court surface and air temperature, ball flight. Very much in this match.
Yeah, she really is. I agree with you, Pete. I think she's done a good job of getting stuck in. She's created quite a bit of pressure down the other end.
This time does find the line. Repeatedly going for that hard cross-court deep return.
Well, needs to take care in this service game. Can't really afford any let-ups on her own service games, because she's up against someone who's just getting bigger and bigger in the serving department.
Stop. Miss Kenin.
Oh, this is interesting. What do you think here, Annabelle?
Well, my instinct was that she's right, that I think that was a little bit long. It felt like there was a gap behind the line, but still a very risky thing to do at this stage of the scoreline.
Will the risk be rewarded?
Now, if it doesn't work, and of course they're not able to show it, then that's not going to help Kenin.
But here it comes. Oh, and by a whisker, it is just long. So it was right to stop the point. Eyes like a hawk, hasn't she, Kenin?
Well, it felt as if she'd not quite finished the swing before she was trying to pull away from that shot and get back to the centre there. Slightly rushed that return.
Game Kenin.
Excellent ability just to redirect the ball, and Kenin doing well there off the return.
Kenin leads 3 games to 2.
It's a tight match, this one. Very little to separate the two. Kenin in front, though, 3-2, second set.
Miss Rybakina is requesting coach hold.
For Rolex and tennis, the tradition began in 1978 and has grown to include the most iconic majors and tournaments, supporting the legends.
Okay, on the returns, you're doing well. You're missing by this much, it's okay. That's a good thing that it's now like this, you understand what I mean? But you're leaning a little bit every time you want to go. Either you go or you don't go. You gotta go. You gotta go. Yeah, but you go leaning back. You go leaning back, you know? And then you stop. Again here, you want to defend slices with the chip, remember? When there's balls that you can get there and play it. You understand what I mean? There's no need to defend. Doesn't matter, but you gotta work extra. You understand what I mean? It's fine. It's all right. We're there. We're so close. So close. Really, so close. So many opportunities on the return games. Very close, very unlucky. Doesn't matter. It's fine. But for now, focus on the serve. Use the serve speed to judge a bit, because you cannot place 140 kilometers an hour serve on their forehand and not expect a ball back.
The ball is not going.
Hit it. Yes. But more energy. More energy. Closer with the head. Closer to the head. Toss forward. Attack the forehand, it's fine, but also go wide if you need to. Doesn't really matter. But you have to put power. You have a 190 serve, use it. Use it. Let's go. Come on. Haydi, możesz. Let's go. And lean into the returns. Come on.
Time.
It's a quality point once again from Kenin.
Love that.
The sit down, of course, Stefano Vukov called onto the court, and well, he was almost playing tennis himself, wasn't he? He was so eager to get himself to get Rybakina going.
Yeah, well, I think he has a really nice manner, actually. He's very positive and very upbeat, but she's quite lethargic when he talks to her, and she's very negative back to him. She sort of needs a pep talk, I think, to kind of really pick her up, because he was saying, and I agreed with him, you're not that far off this. This is really, really close. But she was responding as if, well, it's all doom and gloom and it's not really working. And he definitely said, come on, you can serve 190 serves, use your serve, power up. He told her not to be leaning back so much on some of those ground strokes, particularly when she's defending.
15, 30.
She just looks a little bit negative in the body language, doesn't she? I think this match right now is being won by the kind of sheer willpower and energy down the other end of the court.
Also have to wonder whether tiredness is a factor for her as well, with all the matches she's played this 5th tournament. It's a 19th match of the year already.
Please.
She generally is at a pretty calm demeanour on the tennis court. Don't tend to see too much emotion from her. But you can see why her coach is trying to get her going, because I completely agree with what he was saying, what you were saying there, in terms of it's such a tight match, there's such fine margins in it, and if she can just really you know, a couple of margins here or there, get herself going, get herself a little more pumped.
Yeah, there's not much in it.
Kenin could be in trouble. Just a fraction more intensity. It's a missed opportunity, isn't it, for Kenin?
I think he was also saying when you're pushed defensively, you know, all of the players like to go for that squash shot kind of defensive slice, but he was saying actually you can get there and you can actually hit a proper shot rather than always going for that defensive slice. I mean, she's got long levers, hasn't she, Rybakina? Long legs, long arms, can cover a lot of ground. Oh, that's a terrific kick serve.
We were saying there's similarities with Petra Kvitova, isn't there? And also 6 foot.
Games on.
Just in terms of that big game style. Of course, being a right-hander rather than the left-handed Czech. Got a lot of variety on the serve though as well, hasn't she?
Oh, that shot through the court. She's trying to prove to her coach as well, I think, there. He's down the other end. Definitely his fault, that one.
15.
Yeah, she's definitely having a little bit of a back chat towards him, isn't she?
It's not quite Stritzova proportions,
no,
is it?
that's true.
Oh, that's magnificent. Well, he said to go for it on the stretch, and she certainly did there.
Well, that would have felt fantastic, using that pace of the ball, height kicking up at her. Slapped at it, paid off. Well, she's created enough pressure to eke that double fault out after the previous return of serve, so Kenin in a bit of trouble here.
Finds the line. Another stunning return from Rybakina. And it is the world number 19 who breaks first in the second set to lead 4-3.
Сонь, you need to take care of те ченцы, которые у тебя выходят. Все ченцы, которые у тебя выходят, ты вдруг неожиданно все в фейсбол, ты бьешь аут. Понимаешь? Ты все время переживаешь, так как она ударит хороший удар. Когда ты не можешь ударить, it doesn't matter, понимаешь? Ты take care of то, что ты должна take care. Ты 3 раза, 4 раза подряд у тебя была возможность выиграть. Тебе достаточно воды? Значит, слышишь, что делай, ты играешь, как ты играешь нормально, когда ты играешь. Get it back. У тебя каждую игру у тебя есть шанс взять, но ты сама ее отдаешь. Все off-pace balls, ты стоишь и с места, ты очень overexcited. Вместо этого отойди, маленький steps, around the ball, create the space and put it on a big target. Все, хорошо, вынос. Все. Get it back. You're on the serve. Ты очень upset, когда... Сейчас она тебя забила, этот гол. Правильно, ты стала... Что ты делаешь? Ты очень upset, и ты проиграл все остальное. Pick it up, опять. Выпрыгни из этого состояния. Ты выпрыгнула в конце того сета, и было все отлично. Просто выпрыгни, take care of the chance, который ты должна взять. Понимаешь? Хорошо, все. Не get overexcited. Понимаешь? Аккуратно, большую, не с места, а run around, create the space. Давай.
Lots of words to Sonia Kenin. Needs to react here. Not holding back. The belief will be there, you would have thought, for the Kazakh with all the matches she's won this year. This would be the biggest win, though, by ranking. And off the back foot, didn't hesitate there with the follow through. A really big point coming up right here, right now. Such smart tennis. Didn't go for the big serve, went for the kicker. Got Kenin up above her shoulder. And let's set up the backhand. Confident service hold once again, and now a game away from taking us the distance here on centre court. There is Salah Talak on the right-hand side, the tournament director of the Dubai Duty-Free Tennis Championships and executive vice president.
Well, those were all working in that first set, weren't they? It's a good tactic, that, going back behind Rybakina, because I think she finds it more difficult to change direction. She much prefers to be running onto the ball across that baseline. But she's really hit a purple patch in these last 10-15 minutes or so.
Stay committed to that one. Down low and no hesitation.
No, that was pure instinct, wasn't it? The way she struck that ball. Didn't have much time to think about it. You can see that ball coming at her, just used her legs, stayed with it, didn't hesitate. Well, I think she's under pressure on these second serves because Rybakina is looking to strike out on it, really getting some good returns of serve into play.
Let's the serve.
Oh, look
30,
at that.
40.
That kind of sums up her tennis at the moment. Didn't have to move her feet too much. Little swish of the racket and an outright winner yet again. Everything she's touching is turned to gold.
And it's a set point.
Let's the serve.
And that goes long. Well, what a set of tennis from Elena Rybakina as she fights back. Takes the newly crowned Australian Open to a third set. Takes the second set, 6-3.
Well, it just shows what you can do on the tour with a massive serve as Rybakina possesses, and she's going to take a very quick comfort break and freshen up and get ready for a final set. But you know, for someone who walked onto the court a little bit lethargic, a little bit sort of de-energized, I would say, she's more than energized her tennis in the last half an hour or so, because some of the serves she's put into play and some of that ball striking, Kenin's not been able to touch it.
And the worrying thing is, Annabelle, when we look at three-set records this year, Rybakina is 6-0 and leads the tour with three-set wins.
That is a very, very big point, Pete. So she's pretty tough mentally, and Kenin's definitely got her work cut out. So let's just take a look back and enjoy these highlights of that second set then.
Deuce. Game and second sets. Rybakina. 6 games to 3, 1-0.
Beautiful fountains in and around this wonderful event. Of course, it's the party tonight. So lots of lights on everywhere. Crowd having a great time. You can see them there also watching the big screen just next to the Irish village. And these are the spectators in this superb arena. And they're watching an intriguing match right now. The Australian Open champion in a bit of trouble. Good to see the youngsters in as well. They can learn a lot from both of the players that are playing in this first match of the evening session. Get to see all the smiles out there as Kenin comes back out onto the court. In terms of her 3-set record, incidentally, for 2020, 2 wins, 2 losses. As I say, up against someone who's won 6 and lost 0 with regards to 3-set encounters. We thought it might be tough for Kenin in this match, up against someone who is in such good form, playing with so much belief.
Well, I think she's deceptive, Rybakina, isn't she? Because she's so tall and sort of, you know, as you said, these long levers. She's not the best mover out there on the tour, but she's such a wonderful ball striker. But, you know, she has a lower intensity in terms of the energy that she brings onto the court. I mean, they couldn't be more polar opposite, could they, in terms of how they walk around the court and carry themselves. But I think when you have a serve as big as this is, you know, so many free points coming and going, the games sort of motor through quite quickly, and it just pressures so much, you know, for Kenin's service game. So she has no real let-up in terms of her own service games, and particularly if she's not getting good first serves in, or the placement of that first serve. Because Rybakina is really stepping in and crunching that as well.
And you also mentioned the fact that, you know, that she seemed a little loose, a little low, sort of energy-wise. And then the coach came on, did his speech. She seemed to almost get a little angry with him. But he'll be saying it worked a treat, because since he came on and talked to her, the intensity got a little bit higher, only a fraction, and then she's been the dominant player since then.
Yeah, he was very positive. I think he had a big impact on her. You know, all that chat about sort of trying to look to move forward, being positive, staying aggressive, using that big serve. Well, she's more than used that in the last set. So all to play for in this final set. Not a lot to choose between them.
Incidentally, has 2 top 10 wins in her career, Rybakina. First one coming against Caroline Garcia in 2018 in St. Petersburg. She won 7-6 in the third, and then was 5-4 up over Simona Halep last year in Wuhan before the Romanian retired. So only 1 win where she won the match point.
15.
You certainly sense there are more top 10 wins coming in 2020 for the Kazakhstani. Far off the top 10 herself at world number 19.
Well, got a little bit set with the feet there. Gonna have to keep those feet moving quite a bit. She got a square onto that ball, and again, that's another example of how that ball is shooting through, and if you get too set with the feet, it can come at you quite quickly.
Just wonder as well, I mean, it's been a day of upsets so far, hasn't it? Saw Svitolina lose the 3rd seed earlier on. 4th seed Belinda Bencic crashed out as well. 5th seed now in trouble.
Oh, that's a wild, wild swing.
First game,
And this is going to be tough, isn't it? Because she's chasing the scoreline here.
Yeah, momentum firmly with Rybakina.
Well, let's take a look at the stats of that second set then. The first serve percentage, not too much difference in that department. Rybakina really ramping it up with the winners, certainly towards the end of that second set, 11-7. Not sure about the unforced error count there.
Kenin. That's a miss. Rybakina showed the call on the right center service line. The ball was pulled in.
There we go. It is in.
Miss Rybakina has 2 challenges remaining. Oh. 40-15.
And that's more like it from Kenin. Staying positive, getting herself inside the baseline. Something that she did so well in the first 6 or 7 games. Was able to deal with the pace and the power and stay firm. And got a little tight at the back end of that second set, backed away, and hasn't quite been the same player since. But real credit to Rybakina. She's continued to be so aggressive.
I heard the scream there from Kenin. I'm sure she's going to get a little bit more vocal out here. She's kind of gone away from some of the tactics that we saw at the Aussie Open, where she was really redirecting the ball corners to corners and getting her opponents on the move and changing the direction of the ball. She seems to be targeting Rybakina's backhand at this stage. Well, she made those in the first set, went after a couple of them, nailed some of them, and that one just getting away from her. It's quite hard, isn't it? She's only 5'7", so that ball kind of rearing up above shoulder height, and she's still trying to change the direction of it.
Let's see, 15.
Well, I don't know whether he's talking at her. She's not too far away from him. He's getting quite frustrated on the sideline. living every moment in this match.
40-15.
Difficult to read this serve, isn't it, Pete? She sort of walks up to the line, she's very relaxed, nice and calm service motion, and then just unleashes this power.
It's not just power, is it? As we said earlier, she's got good variation. We've seen the kicker used. We've seen an unusual bit of pronation from her as well.
2 games to 1.
It's been a long time since Kenin has broken the Rybakina serve. Not since the first game of the match. Kenin leads 2-1.
Combine the two, and you've got our new name, Kioxia.
Well, here's a nice slow-mo of both of these players out here, and you can see with Kenin, both feet off the ground on some of these ground strokes. There's that choppy slice ball that she plays so effectively. Nice footwork getting into position. I feel as if Rybakina is really starting to dictate some of this match, and Kenin having to play reactionary tennis as opposed to really dictating the play and getting her opponent on the move. There's that kind of wraparound with the racket head quite high as she loops round with that take back. You can see on Kenin's backhand that racket head almost vertical while she then drops the racket head behind her. Similar for Rybakina's backhand. Open stance on these ground strokes in the back of the court. Played off that open stance there. Well, there's the first serve return placement in set 1.
Time.
It's that sort of collection of balls there. Return speed about 112 kilometers an hour. These
are worrying times, and it's been worrying for quite a while now for Kenin. The main reason being is that Rybakina's been holding serve so comfortably and so quickly. Kenin will be feeling the heat.
Let's pass. Yes. Advantage, Rybakina.
That's well saved.
Yes.
Important first serve to find. We know all about her fighting qualities from the Australian Open win.
Advantage, Kenin.
Oh, wow.
Kenin.
Finds the line again. And that's a big service hole for Kenin. Is that the turning point in this match? Will it really get her going in this deciding set? We heard, of course, Kenin's father talk about her staying in the present, albeit in Russian. You just kind of feel that's the case for Rybakina here. Missed opportunity to break there. Can she stay in the present? Wow.
15.
Well, it's quite breathtaking, some of this ball striking, isn't it? Again, off the open stance. Didn't have much time to think about it. Used her legs well.
Let's pass.
Yeah, that slow kicker is quite deceptive, isn't it? 131 kilometres an hour, that one. But gets good height on it. And as I said before, Kenin having to reach up for that rearing ball and then having to change the pace because it's coming at her so slow. So she has got a lot of variety she brings onto the court.
I think that's why we've seen, particularly the second serve, I mean, she's winning 68% of the points behind the second serve, Rybakina, in this match. And that's one of the reasons why that what you just pointed out there. I don't think Kenin quite knows whether to be aggressive off it or to defend off it. And of course, she's getting so many different balls.
That's the thing. It's having to adjust all the time, isn't it? You don't have too much time to think about it either. You have to make that adjustment in a split second. She's certainly looking to attack the second serves.
But again, missing. And a little shake of the head down this near side from Kenin. Just wonder, should she give herself a bit more space?
Well, she might have to if she keeps on missing some of those. But then, of course, she is trying to play the right way, isn't she? She's trying to intimidate.
Let's pass. Game, Rybakina.
Such an easy action, isn't it? And another easy service hole for Rybakina. Looking good right now as the world number 19.
Very good job. Excellent. Then now, you have to understand that you go up 0-30 or 15-30, especially on her service games, okay? You have to keep the intensity high. Don't put down the intensity when you win 2 points. I know it's not easy, I understand, but keep the intensity high. So analyze the returns. Yes, if you get a ball body, step out a little bit. If you see the angle is coming, cut the angles, get a little bit more forward, you understand? And of course,
cannot do it before.
no, but you feel it, you analyze during the game, you understand? But now she feels pressure. You're a big server, you should be aggressive on the returns. Be aggressive, you understand what I mean?
I stepped in too close and
Yeah,
I cannot return.
no, I understand. But you have to analyze. That's why I'm telling you. That's why I'm telling you. Analyze. Yeah, but every time you go back, she does a curve because she sees you. Elena, don't worry what you do. Don't answer back right now. Listen to me. Don't talk. Listen to me. Intensity from first point to the end of the match. Intensity I want to see. Yes. From the forehand side, yes. You gotta put pressure there when you can, but also on the backhand. If you go intense, keep the rhythm. Bistre noge, bistre ruke. You understand? Hit it. Hit it. There's nothing to lose. Okay? If she slices on the forehand, you don't have to slap the ball. But don't wait for the ball to come to you. Okay, work. Imo, you can do this. Idemo, tvoje. Let's go.
Big word there from Stefano Vukov, intensity. Fascinating exchange once again between the two of them. Memories of being back at school then, and I don't know whether you thought that as well, as in don't answer back, listen to me.
I love that. That's really fun. You don't often hear coaches saying that to their player. Well, she tends to have quite a negative kind of feeling about her tennis, doesn't she? Whereas he's very upbeat. They're a very good mix, actually, of personalities. He makes up for her sort of negativity with all his positivity. And he's always said right from the word go when he's come on court, you can do this. You have the game and you are stressing her, which she definitely is. Well, I thought that was wrong. I can't believe she didn't challenge that. It's extraordinary.
Well, hearing that the ball was in. Quick fire service hold there for Kenin. Not too many of those, so that'll be a relief. But yeah, it was something, that was a word that we were talking about, the reaction at the end of that second set from Rybakina after speaking to her coach. Intensity, just that little bit more. It was hammered home, talking about staying positive, getting up to the ball. It's talking about the intensity with the feet.
Well, I agree with him. I think she does need to keep that intensity up right here, doesn't she? Because she's done such a good job of taking care of business on the service department for what, a good hour and a bit. Oh, that's just outstanding. And again, it's that slow kicker up to the backhand, 139 kilometers an hour. Kenin, you can see, resorting to the slice backhand and then really flattening out the backhand. Good preparation on this ball, and you can see getting the ball out in front. Oh, ouch.
Losing her footing, but she's okay. And again, credit to Rybakina once again, keeping our eye on the ball, not on what was going on down the other end.
Well, that might just unsettle her a bit, mightn't it? Where you start to doubt whether you're going to slip again. I wonder if that might get into her head.
40.
Well, didn't even have to. I've never known two servers so quick, Pete. I mean, again, she's stepping up to the line at about 22 seconds.
Both of them don't mess around. They want to go to the party, that's why.
Maybe they can hear the music coming over. I can probably smell the barbecue. Actually, it's more than just a barbecue. Amazing food.
And so that was
40,
perhaps what
30.
Coach was talking about there for Rybakina. No footwork. But again, just wonder what she's got left in the tank. With all the matches she's played recently. Slight sign of tiredness. Oh! Was a whisker away. Just undercooked it. And Rybakina is able to hold again. Still on serve in this deciding set, and this time it's Kenin to call her father and coach out onto the court.
Сейчас нечего... Спокойно, просто не пошло, чуть-чуть перелетело. Подожди, сейчас нечего комплейн, ты правильно все делаешь. У тебя были chances, то, что ты сделал, как с return появился, ты через центр как ты сыграл, все получилось, правильно? Все, давай, сейчас просто don't get down on yourself. Вот что сейчас самое главное, чтобы ты не это. Держи. Вправо ты ее зажимаешь, правильно, когда вправо ты... Окей, все, правильно, хорошо. Иди вправо, потом you lock her. Потом эти ретурны, смотри. Значит, на вторую подачу у тебя есть ченсы.
Да.
Какие ченсы? Или она тебе подает wide, хорошо, ты тянешься, значит, чуть ближе и сыграй. И отсюда она уже пристрелила, что ты down the line все время играешь, и она тебе играет это. Change, cross, ты сыграла через центр, все отлично. Все отлично. Все, сейчас начала играть. Держись, просто держись. Играй, держи это то же самое. Так, куда ты ее зажимаешь, отлично в этой. Хорошо? Все правильно, как мы с тобой договаривались. После каждого поля. Не waste. Даже вот столько, не waste сейчас. Сейчас будет фокус. Потому что у тебя есть chance, take the chance. Аккуратненько, с big target. Измени.
Well, again, apologies, we can't speak Russian, so unable to say what Sonia Kenin's dad said to her, but there was a lot of information given.
Well, one of the things, he did suddenly switch to English, didn't he, and said, don't get down on yourself, because she looked like she was about to start crying. She was very, very emotional in that sit-down.
Love it.
Prime example of the highs and lows of tennis, this, isn't it? Winning a first Grand Slam at such a young age, and then only a couple of weeks later stressing out the change of ends. Not too much time to enjoy what she's just achieved in the sport.
And the WTA right now, when you look at almost each and every draw, particularly of the Premier and Premier 5 events, there's no such thing as an easy draw. Such depth in the game, and Kenin is finding that out here. 6th double fault, and a bit of trouble at love 30. It's a good forehand. Just wonder whether Rybakina could have done a little more with the return.
Yeah, it didn't have too much on it, did it? Not too much pace. Straight back into that strike zone. Teetering on the edge here, Kenin. Desperately needs to find some first serves.
Couple of rockets from the backhand side from Rybakina, and here are 2 break points. And just a reminder, Rybakina has won every single deciding set she has played this year, more than any other player as well. 6 from 6. Is she going to make it 7 from 7?
Kenin is showing the call on the
Wow.
right bottom line.
Oh, has she found the corner of the court here, Rybakina? It was called in. Kenin still looking at the ball mark. She doesn't seem to know. And it is just out. And a lifeline thrown to the American
30-40.
by a whisker. Still has a break point to save. Just how significant could that turn out to be?
Well, exactly, and also emotionally, you know, she was kind of walking towards the chair as if, as if she was about to serve for 5-3 and try and serve the match out, but want to get her head together here.
But there's the error. So it doesn't matter with regards to the just missed ball on the previous point, as Rybakina breaks late on in the third set and will now serve for a place in round 2.
Love it.
Such a good record this year in deciding sets, but this would be the best win of her year, rankings-wise. So there's bound to be some nerves here for Rybakina. Just making too many unforced errors right now, the American. That's a super shot.
18-13.
Called long, almost certainly will be challenged by Kenin. He's always going to be on such a big point. So will it be a match point or will it be a break point? It will be a match point.
40-30.
Oh dear, had all the time in the world to think about it.
Yes.
Just showing some tension, Rybakina. Kenin somehow survives for now. Wasn't all on the second serve for once, and Kenin pounces on it.
Kenin.
Having saved a match point. Now it is the chance to get the break back.
Yes.
Oh, this time finds the court. No doubt heart in the mouth moments for Rybakina fans. Might have been a little tighter to both the baseline and the sideline than she would have wanted. That's called long as well. And so now it will be a second match point. Arguably the win of Rybakina's career. It has been a special 2020 so far, and it has just got even better. The world number 19 takes down the Australian Open champion, as it's a 7th straight deciding set victory for the 20-year-old, making a debut here in Dubai, and she has thrilled this centre-court crowd. What a win.
And let's give her another round of applause as she leaves the arena. Of course, the Australian Open champion just a couple of weeks ago, and we wish her all the very best of luck in her next event.
So it's Rybakina who wins 6-7, 6-3, 6-3, and it's back to the drawing board for Kenin. Perhaps understandable after all of the success she had in Australia. So many players, of course, winning their first Grand Slam, then often have a little bit of a slump. But you have to give so much credit to Rybakina, who is now courtside with Annabel Croft.
Well, congratulations, Elena. Your first match against Sofia Kenin, and of course you've won all of your 3-set matches this year. You've taken out the Australian Open champion. Just give us your thoughts on the win.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy with my win today, and I think today I folded the tactic, so it was a key of the win.
It certainly was. It was a fantastic win for you. Now, you've made so many improvements. Last year, this time, you were ranked 192 in the world. Now you're 19. You won Hobart. You've been in 2 finals as well. Just tell everyone here, what are you most proud of in terms of your improvements on the tour?
I mean, I'm just so happy. Worked a lot, so I mean, it's amazing that I managed to win today, because I just finished the tournament and I came one day before, so just happy.
I'm not surprised, because you really didn't have too much time to adjust from coming from St. Petersburg in that final just last week. And just finally, your serve is amazing. You served so many wonderful big service aces out here tonight. Where did you learn to serve like that?
Thank you so much. I mean, we worked a lot, so I mean, I don't know what to say.
Well, I'm sure lots of tennis players here would like to learn to serve like you. Well, you've got Siniakova in the next round. Before that, there's just a certain player party that we could hear the music over there. Are you heading there now?
I'm not sure. I'm going to rest, but thank you so much for coming today.
Okay, well, very best of luck in the next one. Elena Rybakina.
Oh, very sweet interview from Elena Rybakina. And I'm sure she will get better and better with regards to her tennis and with regards to the interviews, because she's going to have to get used to them with the way she's playing.